Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good everything. Wherever you are listening to me at this very instant, always exciting. Did I go anywhere? Yes, I did. I went to put myself together, bring some thoughts to share with you. So how are you? Doing just fine. I am excited. So what are we going to be doing on this episode? I'm going to share some thoughts with you. Sometimes I just sit down, process some thoughts. Some of them are for my personal consumption, but some I just no, I need to share with my audience. And let's see how it goes. I hope not to bore you. Okay. So the other day, my daughter walked up to me and said something about she not liking math. Yes, mathematics. And I tried to engage her to understand why. If you take a good census of people around the world, if the world we have 8 billion plus people on the earth, most likely, 6 billion or more may not tell you I love maths or I like math, as the case may be. But I think we're missing the point. I had this conversation with her and she was trying to understand, do we need math? Why math and all of that? So I tried to speak with her and let her see why we need math. And I tried to convince her. So basically, somebody told me once, if you approach math from this point of view, plus, minus, division, what is there again, equals to multiplication, and what have you, you come to appreciate math in itself. But this is where I'm coming with my thought. So I sat down after that conversation to play back certain internal dialogues I've had with myself with respect to that subject matter, math. And I come to see that subconsciously to all of us, we are mathematical beings. We express ourselves mathematically. I'm not talking about dy, dx, functions and all of that. We all. Now, let me point out this to you. Look at the set I'm sitting on. You can see before my cameraman arranged and put me on set. He did what I will call mind equidistancing. He did not measure it. He did not bring a tape to say, okay, it's going to be 15 meters to the right, 15 meters to the left. But somehow, intuitively, he kept the camera, the seat, at an equidistance, to the right, to the left. There's this, what I call it, balance in proportion that brings out the beauty of my image in front of you. More often than not, we apply ourselves mathematically, and we don't know. I'm not talking about the complexity that people like Copernicus, the father of astronomy, or Albert Einstein, or Isaac Newton, and the rest of them that bring, in my opinion, confusion. So everybody's like, this thing, why should I even do math in school and all that? Hello? Okay, let me give you another version to it. Have you ever listened to a musical piece? You come to see the way the songs or the song is arranged, the lines, the lyric, how they are arranged, the chorus, the rhythm. You come to see that the director will have the choir members or the singers play this particular line for 4 times, play this other one 4 times, play this other one. By the time you look at the count of all the plays, they are often even, not odd. Did you get that? Let me repeat myself. By the time you look at the musical contraption or musical piece, the mathematics behind it, the director telling this, play it this number of times, play it that number of times, play it that number, the distributions. When you look at the arrangement, they are more often even than odd. Even because even numbers are equal when divided into any part. If you divide even numbers into 4 parts, likely you get the same thing. 8, for example. Divide 8 into 4 parts. What are you going to get? 2, 2, 2, 2. Am I correct? Good. Divide odd numbers. They won't. What do you call that? So we see ourselves apply that. Okay, a musical score. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Is how many? It's 7, correct? But we have to complete it to make it even, to become a repetition, a cycle. Do, that's the 8. It makes it 8. So it's even. You go back again. So if you look at any musical arrangement, it falls that. So we apply ourselves mathematically. You don't have to be scared. I'm not talking about passing exams here for your information. We see it. You see, when you're dividing something, we always stand at an equidistant point, subconsciously to us. This room needs to be balanced. Look at the way you place your bed in your living room. You place it in such a way that to the right, to the left, the space supposedly is balanced. Even if when you measure it, it may not be to that accurate end point, but you see that balance. So that is what we are, mathematical beings. You go to the market, you see that woman selling the local, you apply math in balancing, sales and all of that. You're driving, see even our roads, the way our roads are designed, no matter how undulating and winding it is, when those guys who design the road come, when they are drawing the markers, you see that to the left, to the right is very equal. Even when you look at it from a far distance, you think it's becoming narrow. As you go closer, you see the measurement. So we are, be it in algebraic sense, arithmetic sense, and geometric sense, we're very mathematical. And we need to do that, apply ourselves mathematically. So, yes, the other day, I was discussing with a friend. I do this a lot. I've heard it growing up. Our women shall give birth like the Hebrew women. And from the Christian perspective and all of that, we come to see this narrative being driven. And so when a woman wants to put to bed or give birth or something, you see that narrative coming up to say that our women shall give birth like Hebrew women, blah, 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 and all of that. And I was trying to understand, where did that come from? And you see people say things like, oh, it's in the Bible and all of that. So I sat down to do that reading to okay, let me understand where this is coming from. So this is the story. Pharaoh gave an order to the midwives telling them to kill the Jewish children. But the nursing or the midwives who had a fear of God said, we can't do this. So when Pharaoh inquired, why are you not doing this? They lied. And the line they put up was, they're like the Hebrew women. That the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, that before they get there, they're already giving birth and what have you. So we now have this narrative filter in to our cultural nuances that even when a woman maybe gives birth by CS, that's the Caesarean, we tend to look down on the woman like she's weak and all of that. And you see a lot of women lose their lives. They die. And you see certain cultures saying it. You must give birth like the Hebrew women and all of that. I don't understand. Where did you get that from? But that's the power of narrative being woven wrongly. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying our women cannot give birth naturally. But what do you even call naturally? Vagina birth, okay? So what's the difference between vagina birth and the CS? You know the story of Macbeth, who was that in Macbeth that was told that the witch told him that he can only be killed by a man born of a woman. So the guy that killed Macbeth, do you know what happened to him? His mother gave birth to him through CS, so we can prove that he was not born of a woman. So we can all go out there and begin to say that every child that came through CS was not born of a woman, so they have the ability and all that. Those are profiling, cultural nuances, in my opinion, that are faulty. And we have seen this being pushed out there and putting the lives of innocent women and even some men at risk. I had that challenge with my mom. Yeah, I did. But she knows me. You don't. So all my kids came through CS. Strong, healthy. Yes. So we must embrace the truth from a point of the truth, from a relational point of view, not transactional point of view. That's my thought on this. And I just felt to share this with you. Another thought, which I know that back in school, I've had this conversation again and again and again. We've heard this back and forth. You know the story of Joseph? That line that says, a Pharaoh king that did not know Joseph. I find it troubling at the time. Joseph, how can you forget a man that saved the whole nation? Or how can you not know, rather? Because the story of Egypt through the famine was one that Joseph was prominent. So I was like, okay, how would you say that a Pharaoh came who did not know Joseph? I did, we're talking, I inquired and I reasoned it and I asked. And the only explanation that came to me, or that I could prefer to it, was the Pharaoh chose to ignore Joseph. He knew Joseph. But because he was not happy that answer or that savior was not from the Egyptian stock, but Israel. So he ignored it. And most times we see it happening in our society where people openly ignore the truth just because they want to promote an ideology. And you ask them, why are you doing that? He's not from our place. He's not one of us. Excuse me. The answer he has would save all of us. How come now you're telling me he's not one of us? Because you want to perpetuate yourself, maybe in power, or you want to give yourself a reason to do evil. So you ignore it. It's not as if you don't know it. You choose. You are in denial of it. You choose not to know it. So the Pharaoh who did not know Joseph chose to ignore Joseph. Because if you don't know Joseph, how come you know his people? You're punishing his people. Let's bring it down to common sense. You see now? Sometimes societies break because those in power ignore the truth. They choose what they want to choose. to perpetrate a narrative that will give them or the power to ascend the stool or whatever. We have to really be careful. So another one is, we've had this as a running battle for a while. I'll read it out so that you hear it. I will ask if it's a question or a statement. How could one man chase 1,000 or two put 10,000 to flight unless their rock had sold them out, unless the Lord had given them up? It's a question, correct? Because it started with what? How? Now, over time, growing up, I've heard people use this line as a statement or an affirmative. The Lord said, one shall chase 1,000, two shall chase 10,000. No, that's not what the Lord said. He's asking a question here. If the enemy can chase you 1,000, and if two can chase 10,000 or put them in flight, they are only doing that because the Lord, your God, has given them up. So I hear people use that statement like, one shall chase 1,000. No, that's not what he's saying. He's asking a question. Oh, it's an opener for you, right? I've had this conversation with friends, but I'm bringing it on the show so that we would look at scriptures truly in applying it to our lives and our living. Not from the point of manipulation, not from the point of hoodwinking people. Look at that. It's a question. Now, come to think of it, if the Lord be with you, that's what he's trying to point out here. So if the Lord is not with you, even one will chase 1,000 of you. Even two will put 10,000. That's a geometric proportion to flight. I hope you're getting this conversation. Please don't, the way you're looking at me, don't be offended. I just came to share this. Okay. One hit me recently, and it's been with me. I'm still processing it. You know that scripture that says, he has given us power to make wealth. He has given us power to make wealth. Hope you know that. Okay, yes, you do. I stayed on it for a while. And I said to myself, is it enough to be powerful? No. Is it sufficient to be powerful, to have power? Or is it fulfilling to know how to use that power? You know, you remember in Game of Thrones, I think it was when Cersei met Littlefinger and they had this exchange, and Littlefinger was trying to tell her knowledge is power. And Cersei looked at him and showed him what power really was. Her soldiers were with her. She gave the command, hold him. Bring out your sword. Now, I think most of you must have seen that. And she said to him, power is power. So when you say knowledge is power, does that suffice? No. Knowledge that is activated. So we always look at it, he has given us power to make wealth. Hold on. Do you know how to use the power? Do you know how to use the power? But don't you think it would be wise for us to go back to him who gave us power to make wealth, to teach us how to use the power to actually make true wealth? That's where a lot of us are missing it. David said, he teacheth my hands to war. You might be powerful, but do you know how to swing? Do you know the angle that the sling should take? David said, he teacheth my hands. That is God who gave me these hands, teaches me how to use it. Because this is power hands. I can move things. But it's telling me, son, that's not how to do it. I gave you hands for a reason, so let me show you how to use it. And I think that's where a lot of us need to go back and really understand power in making wealth. Yeah. I remember sharing this on the show when he said, the land I'm taking you to flows with milk and honey. That's God. And I asked the question, was that poetic or a metaphor? If the land flows with milk and honey, where does milk come from? Cows. How do you milk a cow? If you don't know how to milk a cow, you lose your teeth. You must have the technique, the knowledge. Where does honey come from? Bees. Okay, go inside, walk into a beehive to harvest honey. We may not even find you alive. There is a technique to it. Because if you see that scripture, that was where he was telling them, the land you're going to, remember, it flows with, and he said, I have given you power. He said, remember the Lord your God. It is He that gives power. So what does it mean to remember? It's not just memory. It means go back to Him. I'm going to end with this. It says, moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. You see it? When God teaches you how to use the power He has given to make wealth, you will serve the king. The king will come to you, will eat from you. So I felt to come do this on the show today. I hope I've not offended anybody, but been able to help you think, differently, the way you see things, approach them differently. And maybe the results you've been expecting will just come differently. Gotta go now. We're available on all the social media platforms. Yes, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. Have you subscribed to our channel? Please do. And hit that notification button that you will be the first person to, be informed when episodes like this drop. All right then, gotta run now. Well, you know how we say it on the show. Till I come your way again. My name is Amachree Isoboye.